Hello guys, good morning. I think we can start already our lecture on the module 4 of our subject, theories of crime causation. We are going to be talking about the biological theories as part of the our study on the different theories of crime causation. Let us first talk about the topics that we will be covering. We have here biological theories. We're going to be talking also about the biological theories of crime causation specifically, and the two sub-theories that will be covered under this lecture, the Lombrosian theory and the Sheldonian theory. I think before we can proceed with our topic, it's necessary for us to conduct first an overview with regards to the concept of the subject matter biological theories. So what is really is biological theories pertaining to? So under the biological theory, we know for a fact that the development of the different theories, especially in criminology, had evolved into many phases. Under the criminal behavior, they believe that criminal behavior is a result of complex interplay between the social and the biological factors. Thereby, there is really this conflict between the two. The social factors, for example, are considered as reflection of the environmental sources of influence. So under social factors, we are pertaining to the different factors that has something to do with the society itself. For biological, biological is inclusive of many field in the essence of the study. Under the biological theory, it involves the participation of the psychological, on the on the field of psychology, since we are talking about the biology of one person. So that pertains also to the behavior of that person as part of its biology. Now, another field that is included under this theory is the biochemical, biochemical, neurological, and other genetic factors. So basically, the genetic factors is considered to be the one of the player to the existence of criminality. Dito kasi nakabase yung paniniwala natin na kung ano yung puno, siya ang bunga. Well, many of us might argue whether the notion that kung ano yung puno, siya ang bunga, is whether applicable to the field of criminality and so on. But in the sense of the biological theory, they have been into that belief before. So just a little bit of overview with regards to what exists, how did we develop the belief or the principles that we have right now in explaining criminality. It is therefore important for us to have an overview with regards to the three foundational theories in criminology, thereby including the concept of demonology, which in the early days they really believe in the existence or the occurrence of the so-called demonic possession. They view criminals before as a person who is infested with demonic entities, thereby the belief that this individual who possess or who commits crime are being possessed by evil or being manipulated or controlled by evil spirit. If we can observe, I made mention of this already, that during the early days, their perception or their belief with regards to the demonic possession and its relation to criminality, it influences the form of punishment that is being applied to criminals during the early days. if we will look into it, no, we realize that the punishment before are very harsh, in the sense that they are not really punishing the individual, they're not punishing the person who committed the crime, but rather they are punishing the evil spirit that had possessed the person who committed the crime. After that, no, after the domination of the concept of demonology and explaining the existence of criminality, here comes now the classical school, no, or the classical criminology, wherein they argued that such demonic possession did not exist or does not exist. No? That the only reason why a person commits crime is because of his own free will. So, from spiritual comes in the philosophical way of philosophical perspective in discussing the existence of criminality. So, those who propose the idea of the classical criminology agreed that the existence of criminality is by it's a choice among those individuals who engage into criminality. They do believe that when a person committed the crime, he is therefore he should be responsible for his action, because every individual, according to the classical school, has the free will. No? So whatever actions that they may commit are subjected to their own volition, meaning that they committed the crime of their own choice. Therefore, for us to solve or suppress or at least reduce the commission of criminality, they devise a certain way or method in order for them to answer, or in order for them to solve the problem on criminality, and that is through the imposition of death penalty or other form of penalties that are considered as harsh, but with the aim of developing the so-called psychological deterrence among criminals. They would argue that if a criminal, no, would realize that the disadvantage that he will be receiving from his act is higher than the benefit that he would derive from the same act, no, will outweigh, no, will outweigh the the reward, no, because they really do believe in the reward system, that if the negative effect of doing a certain act is higher than the positive benefit of doing that act is higher, then they believe that the person thinking of doing something, thinking of doing something that is considered as crime will never will be dismayed to continue his evil intent. So they have changed the concept of the imposition of punishment. Kasi tignan mo doon sa demonological, they are punishing the individual just because he is believed to be evil. So the purpose of the punishment is different now on the classical school, because the imposition of punishment under the classical school is no longer for the purpose of retaliation or whatsoever. Their purpose was to invoke or induce the so-called deterrence factor, in order for the criminals to be dismayed in continuing their evil intent, because they would realize that the negative impact or the negative effect of doing that act is far more higher than the benefit that they will derive from the same act. No? So that's under the concept of classical school. However, here comes again the positivist school, which is the biological theories is already a part of. Under the concept of Cesar Lombroso, wherein he viewed that free will does not exist. That's one of their argument, that there is no such thing as free will, because that is just a philosophical principle. So what they believe is that we should conduct a scientific inquiry towards the problem, especially on criminality. So therefore, they had conducted some scientific inquiry during that time that are not yet that advanced as we have now, no? Wherein they try to study or find out the real cause of the existence of criminality. No? So, Cesar Lombroso and his comrades, no, concluded that criminals are like sick individual, no? That the cause of their action are actually can be blamed into their faulty genetics. So he proposed a way of viewing criminality in its scientific on a scientific manner. So what he proposes that there are those individuals who commits crime beyond their control, no, that they cannot really control their action as affected by the different faulty genetic makeup, and that would include now the biological theories. So there's a lot of explanation, according to Lombroso, no, on why criminality exists. But if we're going to look into his study, he is really focusing on the physical traits, physical characteristic of these different individuals who are engaged into crime commission, and he usually blame it to faulty genetics. That's why I have the concept of atavism, no? He have the concept of born criminal, and so on. Nevertheless, no, I think what is important that he proposed under the psychological or under the positivist school is that the view on the crime problem, no, which he considered it as an sickness or an illness that can be cured. No? So nowadays, if we're going to look into the penal system, into the criminal justice system that we have, we will realize that the impact of the positivist school of criminology before had still its effect until now to the different justice system that we have, wherein the concept of imprisonment is no longer for the purpose of punishment or for the purpose of revenge or retaliation. Now it is already focused on the reformation and rehabilitation, which is one of the important benefit or important the significance of the theories that were proposed, that were discussed by Lombroso during the early days. No? But still, we need to consider that such thing that the biological theories, including the phrenology, physiognomy, atavism, and other theories proposed by Lombroso, no, are no longer taken seriously nowadays due to the fact that the method on how they derive or they had come up with the conclusion that they have, no, with the manifestation that they have during the early days are not really that valid, no, in terms of scientific inquiry. No? It is important to note, however, that there has been a development into the biological theories onto the way of viewing the criminality using biological theories nowadays. We have here some of the propositions under the biological theory, such as the examination of the so-called chromosome aberrations, no? Faulty chromosomes or faulty genetics that would include the chromosomes. No? We know for a fact that ang chromosomes kasi for female is XX pairing, no? Double X. No, so for men naman we have XY. They believe that if there is a problem, no, or if there is an aberration or abnormalities with regards to this chromosome pairing, such as, for example, the existence of extra Y, no, instead of having an XY chromosome for female, for male, if he would have the so-called XYY or the extra Y, no, he is believed to be more prone to aggressive behavior, no. They believe that the Y chromosome really is the chromosome that dictates the so-called masculinity, no, among others. So if you have double masculinity, I mean, you have that alpha male syndrome, no, wherein you know the Y really dictates the how do you call this, the relationship of aggressive behavior. Kasi uh, XX, for example, no, for females, since they don't have the Y chromosomes, they are more than of maternal in nature. Unlike for male na merong may pagka-aggressive. So doon binibase nila that by birth is or by genetic is more aggressive talaga ang mga lalaki compared sa mga babae, as manifested by the existence of Y chromosome. Now, if this Y chromosome is double, then much more that the male possessing such extra Y chromosomes will be more aggressive than usual male, no? So that's what they call that's how they correlate such thing. If we're going to look into it in a bigger perspective, I think uh, it is actually logical to think that way using the XY chromosome, kasi that's scientific naman, it's scientific findings naman talaga, that could be valid since we have the DNA, and we can prove the existence of X and Y chromosome. However, the issues here is the correlation, na yung correlation. It's really hard to come up with an interpretation in terms of behavior, or in terms of defining the behavior of one person based on chromosome. What is really the basis of concluding that if you have an extra Y chromosomes, you will behave aggressively? So parang ano lang yan, one of the study that I have read also in relation to this is the blood typing. So they have the concept of blood typing. They wanted to correlate that to a behavior wherein they are trying to understand the general behavior of those who have a blood type. Like for example, you have a blood type O. What is your general behavior? Blood type A or AB. No? What are your general behavior? So sometimes I think he concluded in this study that those who have type O, no, blood, are more prone to criminal behavior or aggressive behavior, because probably in his study, in his observation, there are more individuals who are committing crimes that has a blood type O, a blood type O. Now, there are really different factors that may play onto this part, and we cannot really conclude efficiently or conclude accurately in terms of interpreting the behavior of one person based on the scientific findings, no? So ganun din ang parang nangyayari under the chromosomes, no? Although we would say that it could be viable that there is a correlation between them, but there is no accurate way of finding that out. Actually, they had studied also itong proposal nila that the criminal behavior can be predicted by the existence of the aberrations on chromosomes. So that's why some researcher conducted the study in the Scottish prison, no? Wherein they studied all the inmates imprisoned therein, no? And they found out at least 3% of the entire population of those who are imprisoned in the Scottish prison na yan, are having that extra Y chromosome. So 3%. No? I don't know if you consider that as a big number or an insignificant number. But the existence of such maybe is affected by different factors, as we have stated. Another problem with regards to this is that when they study the tendency or possibility of one person to have that in general population, they found out that only 0.2% of the entire population of the Earth now has extra Y chromosome. So those individuals who possess that extra Y chromosomes are actually a very just a few fraction of the entire population. So with that, they believe that conducting further study in relation to this is very insignificant, since if we're going to look at it, not even 1% of the entire population has that Y chromosome. So if you're going to study all those 0.2%, then you could probably find out there is still a deterioration in terms of number, kasi meron naman yung mga iba siguro that even if they have the extra Y chromosome, hindi naman sila nag-turn into criminality or na-involved into criminal activities. So uh, in short, no, napakaliit lamang ng number, no, napakaliit lamang na na group ng mamamayan natin ang merong ganitong problema. And it's for practicality sake, I think it's not practical to study further because it seems that they don't affect that much. They don't affect the community that much. Okay, so that's with regards to the aberration in chromosome. Another theory that they had noted under the biological theories, all of this, itong mga dinidiscuss ko under chromosomes and so on, and DNA, blood typing, are already part of the modern biological theories that try to prove that there is a correlation between human biology to their criminal behavior. And another to that is the existence of the so-called testosterone. Of course, testosterone is there. It's true. It's a scientific fact that we have testosterone and so on. And the testosterone level of the different persons, especially if we are going to divide them by gender, no, makikita natin that there are there is a bigger number of testosterone in female than in male than in female. So again, they correlated the existence of such chemicals, of such testosterone, to the behavior of one person. So they concluded that the presence of a higher volume of testosterone to one's body will be a predictor to more aggressive behavior. And that's why, since mas malaki or mas maraming testosterone tayo sa katawan, tayong mga lalaki, kaya tayo ay mas aggressive accordingly. Compared sa mga babae, that they have the testosterone but it's very little amount compared to what we have as men. No? So, now, if a certain person possess more than usual, more than the average testosterone that are usually present in the normal body, if he possess such, he would believe to display more aggressive behavior than the rest of the population. There are also instances wherein there are women that has a significant number of testosterone, which manifested to their physical traits and also to their behavior accordingly. Minsan pinapasok pa nila dito yung tinatawag nating post-menstrual syndrome or premenstrual syndrome, wherein nagkakaroon tayo ng mood shifting for women during and after their menstruation. And they correlate that to the increase of testosterone at that specific time. No? Na kapag bago daw datnan ng dalaw yung isang babae at pagkatapos datnan ng dalaw ang isang babae, ay nagkakaroon ng pagtataas ng testosterone level sa kanyang katawan that makes them more aggressive at that specific time and irritable at that specific time. So all of these things are geared toward the justification of the occurrence of a relationship between biology and criminality. However, it's true that there exists the testosterone, there exists the chromosomes, there exists this blood and so on. But the problem is that is it really valid to correlate the behavior of a certain person to those different things such as testosterone and chromosomes? Yun yung nagiging issue talaga dito, no? But I do believe it's really interesting, no, to study these facts or these things because we might, no, be needing to understand really the human biology and the effect of this biology to the behavior of a human being. Okay? Now, let's talk about the Lombrosian theory. Now, the Lombrosian theory is, of course, proposed by no other than Italian criminologist Cesare Lombroso, who was known as the father of the modern criminology. No? He altered the classic focus of crime from legalities and punishment to the individual. So nagkaroon na tayo ng individualized way of viewing criminality. Unlike kasi doon sa classical school, wherein they are viewing criminality in a cluster, no, na kung saan the treatment are the same, almost the same. Sa classical, kapag ikaw ay nag-commit ng crime, mapabata, matanda, babae, no, ay pare-parehas ang inyong magiging parusa since they believe on the concept of free will. And the only way to address the existence of criminality is the imposition of a punishment that would induce the so-called psychological deterrence. So, regardless of who you are, either you are inflicted with mental problem and so on, you will be treated the same as any other normal person. But under the under the positivist school, especially under the Lombrosian theory, he proposed that the way of imposition or the way of our imposition of penalty should be in individualized manner. Na kasi meron tayong mga factors that could cause, no, that could affect our behavior that is beyond our control, that is according to Lombroso, such as, for example, insanity. How could be a person with afflicted with insanity could be able to act in accordance with free will if he himself does not have the intellect? So these are the things that he proposes, no, yung individualized treatment, no, and some of his arguments are the following, no. He believed, ito yung basic ideas na ni Lombroso, wherein he believed that criminals are born and they are not made. He is a very strong proponent of this concept that criminals are really product of biology and not by the society. This is in contradictory to the social factor. No? I think the only problem kasi na nakikita ko dito under the basic idea of positive theory of Lombroso in terms of explaining the existence of criminalities, they are linear, no? They are one-sided and so on. They are focused on correlating the physical traits of one person. They are focusing on correlating the psychological disorder, biological disorder of one person to criminality. No? So hanggang doon lang sila. We know for a fact that right now that is no longer an acceptable explanation as to the existence of criminality. Criminality exists today as we believe is caused by different factors, not only his biology, but could be with his mentality. It could be by social influences such as the existence of criminality within the area and many others. No? So in short, we are considering or viewing criminality, no, as caused by different factors and not only caused by one factor such as biology. So dito tayo nagkakaroon ng pagtatalo in terms of the positive theory kasi they are focused on biology itself. Well, hindi na sila nag-open up with regards to the impact of society to the behavior. No? Basta ang iniisip lang nila is psychological disorder, biological disorder, these are the real cause of criminality. No? So, kaya nga, makikita natin doon sa kanyang konsepto na kung saan criminals are born and not made. He is taking away already the potential or the positivity, the possibility of a person turning into criminality because of his social factors, no? So ngayon, kung makikita nyo, meron namang iba, matatalino naman, no? May pera naman, no? Wala namang problema sa pag-iisip, no? He's pretty much normal, then why still he commits a crime, no? So that is already in contradictory to the basic principle of or the basic idea of Lombroso under his theory that criminals are born not made. Kasi if criminals are born not made, ibig sabihin that this person who don't possess such biological disorder will never commit a crime, but that's not true as in the sense that criminals, the face of criminals can be described as anyone, no? They could be a normal person, no, normal individual, they could be an educated person, but still they commit crime. That is because there are a lot of factors that plays really a role, no, to the existence of criminality. criminals are product of nature and not by nurture. That's what, again, that's in agreement to his basic idea number one, that criminals are born and not made. He really do believe that the society has no impact. No? The treatment, all the things that are existing within the society has no impact to the behavior of one person. No? So ako nga mismo, I don't agree already with some of the concept of the positivist theory, especially during the time of Lombroso. But still, no, it is notable to discuss all of this because hindi pa naman ganito ka-wide yung understanding natin in terms of criminality. It's good that they have this first impression, no, that they started turning into the use of scientific inquiry in order to find out the truth in terms of criminality. But still, no, since siguro at that time it's still developing, all of this knowledge are still developing, so it's pretty much premature during that time. So it's important that we know of them, no? Alam natin itong mga to, but we should not live our career believing into the positivist theory because, as I've stated, most of the notion, now, most of the principles established under the Lombrosian theory are already debunked or disproved, no, or discredited. So another basic idea of the positivist theory is that they focus on the biological and psychological factors to explain criminal behavior. So yan nga yung sinasabi ko na napaka-limited lamang ng tinitignan lang cause of the existence of criminality. But I guess, no, compared to other school of thought, positivist theory is much more viable and much more practical and logical in a sense that it had benefited the current situation that we are in right now in terms of how we view criminality and how we treat criminals. Next theory that existed under the umbrella of the so-called biological theory is the Sheldonian theory. The one that proposed by William Sheldon, no? The famous term or use term for Sheldonian theory is no other than the somatotyping theory. William Sheldon thought of body types could explain the personality of one person and could probably understand or help us understand the behavior of one person and why does a certain person turns into criminality. So on his theory, he discussed the following classification. We have the ectomorph, we have the endomorph, and we have the mesomorph. No? Again, this theory are no longer being used right now, no? Hindi na natin pwedeng gamitin ito kasi imagine mo if we are still adopting this theory, di pwede nang huliin yung isang tao based on his physical appearance only, ano? Kapag yung isang tao mukhang kriminal, pwede na natin siyang huliin kasi mukha siyang kriminal without even trying to understand the very nature of the act or of the person. So that is why, as I've stated, these are no longer applicable right now. But for the sake of learning, now where did we came from in terms of our knowledge with regards to criminology? Kaya dinidiscuss pa lang natin siya. So under his theory, no, itong mga classification of body types, and he interpreted it into some behavior, correlated it in some behavior, no? First thing is we have the ectomorph na tinatawag according to Sheldon. Ito yung mga tao na mapayat, no? They are introverted, no? These individuals have poor social skills, no? And with regards to their physical traits, they are characterized as follow, no? Sila yung mga may narrow hips, no? They have a narrow shoulder, they have a thin face, they have a narrow chest, and so on. So, in short, ito guys, yung mga mapapayat na matatangkad, no? Yung mga pahaba na tinatawag natin or mga poste na tinatawag natin, no? Even me before, no? I think ganun pa rin naman ako ngayon na mapayat na matangkad. So, we are considered as ectomorph. And then, in terms of our behavior, according to Lombroso, these are the expected behavior from those person who has that body type. No? They are socially awkward. No? Ibig sabihin is na hindi sila marunong makipag-socialize. No? At nahihirapan sila makipag-socialize. They're always self-conscious. No? they're conscious of what they're doing, no, they're conscious of their appearance, they're conscious of how they think, how they're presenting themselves to the community, and so on. So lahat yun na causing them to withdraw from the society and becoming yung tinatawag nating loner or antisocial, no. But not necessarily true, not all of these are true, no. I would think that some of you might raise an eyebrow with regards to this. Baka sabihin, hindi naman yan totoo. Kasi ako, ganito ako, pero ganyan naman yung ugali ko. Or hindi naman ganyan yung ugali ko. So as I've stated, this is just for the purpose of revisiting our past in terms of our background sa field ng criminology. No? Introverted and private, no? Ang ectomorphic kasi is more focused on their senses, no? So yung mga tinatawag nating senses. So that's why they are more emotional, no? They are more loner and so on, and sometimes they're viewed as antisocial. However, one of the positive characteristic according to psychology and according to Sheldon is that they're thoughtful, no? They are artistic in a sense that I think they since they spend more time with their thoughts, no, thinking of something, then they are the smartest among the different somatotyping, among the different body type, no, proposed or discussed by Lombroso. No, discussed by Sheldon. Another classification of body type according to Sheldon is the so-called endomorph or endomorphic in other references. This body type is characterized by a high percentage of body fat with less muscle mass. So kung makita nyo guys yung mga bilugan ng katawan, no, mga chubby, mga matataba, they are classified as endomorph. No? They often are heavier and rounder, no? But does not mean that they are obese. They have smaller joints, smaller body size, and so on. The interpretation in terms of their behavior, according to Sheldon, are those person who have these body types are outgoing, no, mahilig makisalamuha. They are fun to be with, no, magaling silang masayahin, no. They are loving, they are laid back, and also they are attention seeker. Now, so I'm not sure how accurate this was, but if indeed you agree with this, then probably it holds a little truth behind that, since this is psychology naman, ano? So, with regards naman sa mesomorph, no? Mesomorph is a body type that is marked by greater than the average muscular development. So, ito yung mga katamtaman ng pangangatawan, no? Hindi sila sobrang payat or hindi sila mapayat, hindi rin sila sobrang mataba. Instead, they are the average one, having enough muscle mass, no? Actually, average muscular development. So, yan yung mga in-between, kumbaga, yung mga magaganda ang katawan. They have the following physical characteristic according to Sheldon, no? Yung mga broad shoulder, narrow chest, no? A trim of or muscular body with a strong feeling, and others. Now, according pa nga kay Sheldon, no? They are the best looking person, no? They have this group of body type are the best looking in terms of physical traits, no? And some other behavioral traits such as being outgoing, they're courageous, no? They are full of life, or they're very energetic, and they are also competitive and a risk taker, no? So with regards to the interpretation of this in relation to criminality, nasasabi nila that accordingly yung mga merong ectomorph, yung mga payat, are more prone to committing a crime that is somewhat involve art and skills such as forgery, no, and any other yan yung mga fraud, no, something like that. No, forgery for most of the time kasi since they have the ability, they have this artistic ability. So anything, any crime that involves higher thinking, no, yung mga medyo nangangailangan ng matinding pagplaplano o pagbabalak, no, they are under the ectomorph. So yun yung mga prone crime na kinocommit nila. That also involves yung mga pickpocketing, no, as included. but they are not prone to commit yung mga aggressive type of crimes such as murder, homicides, and so on because of the nature of their body type. No? Payat sila, mahirap talagang mangbiktima ng mga ano yan kasi physically they're not that powerful. Ano? So, that's not their forte. Their forte are more of those crimes that are engaging the mental aspect of human being. Yan. Then we have also endomorph, yung mga bilugan ng katawan, yung mga chubby na yan. According to the somatotyping theory, they are more prone to commit crime that involve trust or taking advantage of trust and confidence, such as estafa, yung mga pang-i-scam, mga ganun, no? And for those who have mesomorph, no? Yung mga merong body type na mesomorph, according to Sheldon, are more prone to commit yung mga serious crime involving crimes against person, no? Panggagahasa, pangre-rape, no? Pagpatay, and others. Because number one, they have the physical strength, they have the energy, and as you know, they are risk taker really. No? So those are the different body type according to William Sheldon and how he interprets those different body types in relation to their criminal tendencies. Okay? So that's the end of our very short lecture for this specific topic. I do hope I was able to impart knowledge to everyone with regards to this. If you have questions, clarifications, or something that you want to know about this topic that is not yet clear, no, feel free to ask or comment on the comment section. Thank you very much all for listening. I appreciate the support. No? That's it for today. See you on the next lecture. Bye.